Becoming a YouTuber looks like the ultimate dream.
I just bought this private jet, and whichever one of these 100 pilots wins this video keeps it!
Millions of views, fame, money, freedom. But what actually happens after you get all of it? Why do some of the biggest creators, like PewDiePie, start stepping back right when they reach the top? Is it burnout, pressure, or something no one talks about? Because the reality of YouTube success isn't what you think, and for many creators, that's where the real problems begin.
You know, I had decided I was going to quit YouTube.
Because from the outside, the YouTube dream looks almost perfect. You see creators like PewDiePie going from a normal setup to becoming one of the biggest names on the internet. You see MrBeast giving away millions, building massive projects, living what looks like a limitless life. And creators like Markiplier turning simple videos into a global audience that supports everything they do. From the outside, it feels like once you reach that level, everything is figured out. More views, more money, more freedom. But that's the version everyone sees. Because what happens behind the scenes is a completely different story.
Oxygen. I'm committing. Put out the oxygen.
But then comes the rise, and this is where everything starts to change. Growth on YouTube doesn't just bring views, it brings pressure. Suddenly, every upload matters, every video has to perform, every mistake is public. Creators like MrBeast have talked about how the expectations never stop rising. Each video has to be bigger, better, more extreme than the last. And for someone like IShowSpeed, the spotlight is constant. Millions watching, reacting, judging in real time. Even Markiplier, known for consistency, has faced moments where the pressure to keep delivering never really goes away. At this stage, it stops feeling like a hobby and starts feeling like something you can't afford to slow down. Because now, it's not just about making videos, it's about maintaining an image, meeting expectations, and staying relevant in a space that moves fast. And this is where the dream slowly starts to shift into something much more demanding.
But then, something starts to change. At first, it's small, almost unnoticeable. The excitement is still there, but it doesn't feel the same anymore. Because as the numbers grow, so does everything else. More eyes watching, more opinions, more pressure to not mess up. Creators like PewDiePie have talked about how being constantly watched can start to feel overwhelming. Every upload isn't just content anymore, it's something millions of people will judge, analyze, and react to. And it's not just online. Privacy starts to disappear. Simple things, going out, living normally, don't feel as easy anymore. Even someone like MrBeast, who's built one of the biggest channels ever, has spoken about how the pressure to keep things running at that level never really goes away. And then there's the algorithm. It doesn't care how long you've been doing this. It doesn't care how successful you are. One bad stretch, and everything can slow down. So now it's not just about creating, it's about keeping everything going, staying relevant, staying consistent, staying visible. And this is the point where YouTube stops feeling like pure freedom and starts feeling like something you constantly have to manage. Because once things start changing like this, there's no real way to go back to how it was before.
And this is where the real cost starts to show. Because on the surface, everything still looks successful, but behind it, things begin to feel different. One of the biggest changes is loneliness. It sounds strange, millions of people watching you, supporting you, and yet feeling more alone than ever. Creators like PewDiePie have stepped away from the constant spotlight, choosing distance over noise. And others, like Markiplier, have openly talked about burnout and the pressure that comes with always being on. Because when your life becomes content, it's hard to switch it off. There's always something to think about, the next video, the next idea, the next expectation. And over time, that pressure builds. It's not just about making content anymore. It's about performing constantly. And then comes something even deeper, identity. When millions of people know you for a certain version of yourself, it becomes harder to understand who you are outside of it. Are you doing this because you want to or because you have to? Even creators like MrBeast have admitted that the grind can feel endless, because at this level, slowing down isn't easy. And that's the cost most people don't see. Not the work, not the effort, but what it slowly takes away from you over time.
But here's the part that makes this even more confusing. If being famous on YouTube comes with all this pressure, stress, and even loneliness, then why don't creators just walk away? Why not step back, slow down, or just stop completely? Because it's not that simple. Creators like PewDiePie stepped away, but most don't. Even someone like MrBeast keeps pushing harder instead of slowing down. So what's keeping them here? Because once you understand that, you start to see why leaving YouTube might actually be harder than staying. And that's where things turn into a trap. Because once you reach that level on YouTube, it's no longer just a platform. It becomes your entire life. Your income depends on it, your identity is tied to it, and millions of people expect you to keep showing up. Creators like Kai Cenat stream for hours, constantly in front of an audience that never really switches off. And someone like iShowSpeed lives in a space where every moment can go viral, for better or worse. And then there are creators like Emma Chamberlain, who've openly taken breaks, stepping back to protect their mental space. But here's the problem. When your lifestyle, income, and audience are all connected to one thing, walking away doesn't just mean taking a break. It means losing momentum, losing relevance, maybe even losing everything you built. So instead of stopping, most creators keep going. Not because it's easy, but because at that point, it feels like there's no clear way out. And that's what makes it a trap.
And this leads to the real truth about YouTube fame. It doesn't fix your problems, it changes them. From the outside, it looks like success solves everything: money, recognition, freedom. But in reality, it replaces one set of struggles with a completely new one. Creators like MrBeast didn't just build massive channels, they built systems that demand constant attention. And even someone like PewDiePie chose to step back, not because he failed, but because he understood the weight that comes with staying at the top. Because the truth is, fame amplifies everything. The pressure, the expectations, even the doubts. And that's why the life so many people dream about is often much more complicated than it looks from the outside.
So the next time you see a YouTuber living the dream, just remember there's always more behind the screen. And if you want to understand how creators really grow, struggle, and stay relevant, subscribe, because this is what we break down here.